O.C. Seán Cole and Brigadier Alfie Colley, they died at the very start of the Civil War, and the decisions that were made, the decision that was made to kill them was a very determined and a very decided decision by the Free State government at the time. Very quickly afterwards, in November, they killed another 3 Fianna members from the same area, from Drumcondra, from near the inner city. He also killed four ex-members of the Fianna, the first official state executions, quite quickly, and then within a couple of weeks of that, Lee Mellors was executed. The decision to execute members of the Fianna by the Free State was decided upon not by what they call police officers on the day. People weren't kidnapped off the street, dragged back to police stations and tortured and then killed. The decisions were made by people by lecturers from UCD, by TDs and political representatives sitting in Whitehall. All these decisions that were made for a particular reason, and it was the actions of the Fianna throughout the War of Independence and throughout the Civil War, because Fianna members were the most determined and probably the most self-effacing members of the Republican struggle. And to give an example of the type of work that the Fianna did, quite quickly after 1916, the Fianna reorganised. The Fianna had reorganised within 3 or 4 weeks in their building in Camden Street. They held a meeting, they got a provisional committee together of 6 members. Eamon Martin, who was also a Dublin lad, took over the running of the whole Fianna, and they made decisions that they were going to get back out and organising politically. But once they had made the decision they were going to get back out, they started on public parades quite quickly within 2 or 3 months, and started raising money and organising their slew and putting away their documentation. Quite quickly then the Fianna got into confrontations with the RIC at the time. There was street fights, and members were being arrested, and the Fianna weren't afraid of these type of things. Members like Cole Colley were prepared to participate in all facets of the struggle. Within weeks of 1916, they held up a police officer outside the GPO. After holding him up, they managed to scale the building and get down a banner that was looking for recruits for the British Army. And as time moved on and things moved towards armed struggle, all the members of the Fianna were the first to the barricades, were some of the first members who were involved in armed action. So when the Free State was set up, as I've said, people sat down in rooms and they decided, who do you need to take out here? Who do you need to, or what organisations do you need to move aside? And the decision was made that these 2 young men and other men like them, other very young men, teenagers who like them, needed to be taken off the streets. The executions of both men shouldn't be seen in isolation, shouldn't be seen as an accident, shouldn't be seen as a rush of blood to the head, and that's what their executions are generally, even by Republican Seanas. There was a deliberate policy to stop young people being involved in the Republican struggle, and to an extent, for a short time, it was a success by the Free State. But as you can see today, Republicans are still active, Republicans are still working hard, and are pushing forward, what do you call it, into a new century. But within 100 years of the Fianna's foundation, or after 100 years of the Fianna's foundation, many of its ideals, the socialism, the republicanism, none of it's been realised, and it's going to be down to groups of people here to keep working for it while as time goes on. And that's basically all I have to say. But the execution of the 2 men shouldn't be seen as an isolated incident. It wasn't. It was part of a deliberate state policy. Thanks very much.
Initially have Seán come read a court and acquisition of in a worship bond. I'd now like to welcome Terry Fagan, who's a local historian, and he's also the chair of the Interstate Membership Fundraising President.
I'm going to make this presentation to Seán. Come forward. It's part of the local folklore collection. And this was actually photographed. This was actually designed in the home of Seán Colley, who lived in number 19 Law Buckingham Street. And that's the office which I work out of, in the Seán College Town. So I'm proud to present this here on behalf of the Folklore Project.
I suppose we finished up. We haven't got anything prepared. But I suppose we can just look at the present circumstances and apply it to these two men that fought against the Free State, because you realise a more equal Ireland was possible, that we not partake in reformist institutions that will only benefit the rich and oppress the weak and the poor and the vulnerable. And we've seen that with the Free State, and we've seen it lately with the economy. So we're not here just to commemorate these two brave men. We're here to learn from and be inspired by their actions, so we can follow suit. So, on behalf of éirígí, thank you very much for coming. And this is just a start. Next year we're going to build this, not just building a march, but build in the area and build a revolutionary struggle in every county, in every town, in every city in this country.